kind of texture and color our donut. So first off, we're going to do the icing because it's easy. So down here we've got material properties, and we're going to go new. We'll create a new one, and we will call this icing. And then the base color we'll make pink, and you'll see no changes in here, so make sure that you click this, and this will give you a preview of your icing. At the moment it looks okay, but it needs to be a bit shinier, so that's to do with this thing, roughness, and that's how reflective. If obviously that's too much, and that's probably about right, but you choose. We'll do a little bit of work on that later. And the other thing we want to do is change the subsurface, and that will absorb a little bit of light. And we want the subsurface to probably be yellow to give it some warmth. And you can see that it changes the way that it kind of the light goes through it. Okay, so the icing is done. The next thing that we're going to do is the bottom bit, the donut itself. So create a new one, and we'll change the color to something like that. And that's okay, but it doesn't really look very real, and so what we need to do is we need to kind of create a texture that's going to wrap around it. So the way they work is with these simple shapes, it already has unwrapped it, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So we're going to turn off the icing, and here we're going to go something called texture paint, and you're going to get this little kind of thing up here. It will show your donut, which is turned bright pink, and that's because it's looking for a texture and it hasn't got one. So where it says no textures, as long as you're in this bit and you go here, create a new one for base color, and we want it to be like this color, and keep it on these things, but you can even make them bigger, but I'm going to keep it on this, and we're going to go OK. So now it's changed everything to like a kind of this brown color. And what you can do with this is, if you press this, this is your brush, you can paint on this as a texture. Ooh, exciting stuff. The problem is that Blender is not a very good paint program, and so it's kind of difficult to kind of paint on things. And so what we've done, we're painting all the way around, and now we're kind of trying to kind of create that sort of donut look. But it doesn't look very good. In this side, this is where you see your images, and we're going to go here to base color, and it shows you what the images that we've created. And it looks okay, but it doesn't really look like a donut. I mean, it looks kind of like a donut, but not like a donut. So we're going to take this image, and I'm going to go image, and I'm going to go save as. I'm just going to chuck it on my desktop, and I'm going to call it donut base color. Boom, and I've saved it. And now I'm going to show you two levels of texturing. So number one, I'm going to go open, and I'm going to go desktop and donut base color, and I'm going to open it. And then what we can do is we can use the painting tools from Photoshop, and we can basically make this look like a donut or a little bit closer. So I've already kind of created a swatch here of colors, and I'm going to make the size go up, and I'm going to paint in, not with the history brush, but with the regular brush. And I'm using, I'm just going to go to window, and I'm going to go to workspace and painting, because that's what makes sense to me. And I'm going to take off wet edges and just paint in like this, get rid of build up. So we're kind of creating this kind of thing to kind of create like the pattern. I'm going to grab the colors, and then so on and so forth. Okay, create a bigger brush. So I'm going to create that kind of thing. If you're kind of worried about these sort of bits being a bit harsh, just use some of the other tools. And so I'm going to use the sort of smear tool to kind of make this a little bit more natural looking. I'm not going to spend a huge amount of time on it. And there we go, we're sort of done basically. And now I'm going to go File, and save. Finished. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Blender and back to layout so we can see. So it's got the old texture on it, and then that texture is in here. And put down the arrow and you can see it's this color. So what I'm going to do is going to go open, go to desktop, find my base color and open it, and it's going to attach that new one to it. Okay, put my icing back on. Doesn't look half bad. Okay, so it's starting to kind of come together as a donut. Okay, so that's sort of level 1. I want to show you level 2. So a lot of you used Photoshop in earlier years, so I'm going to show you how to create like a bit of a better texture. So I went out and hunted for some pictures of donuts. So where is it? Donut folder, and I found these and these. I'm going to use these ones. And here I've got like a nice picture of some donuts, and I'm basically going to use the real donut texture as my texture in the final thing. So I'm going to grab that. I'm going to copy it, go back into here, press V. I'm going to transform it, make it a bit bigger, and that'll do. Then I'm going to select the whole image, go to V, press V, copy and paste it across, so I'm going to create like one entire kind of image, and then it's a bit messy in the bits in between, so I'm going to repair those using the there should be a spot repair brush. Where is that? I think I need to go to Essentials. I'll find that. There you go. Spot healing brush is very useful, so I'll bring those two layers together. That's Control E, and if you can't do that, then just use the clone brush. I'm just kind of trying to get rid of that. Use the healing brush. Healing brush is very good at getting rid of sort of like edges and stuff. And there we go. I've got like a nice kind of texture that's kind of going across. Looks all right. I need to kind of create some more up here, so I'm going to grab like this area. I'm going to go to edit and define pattern, and I'll just call it pattern 3, and then I go to the clone brush, go to pattern stamp tool, use third one, and then when I paint, so I can just paint with that pattern. And then I'm going to use the healing brush to kind of make it a bit bigger. Wrong way. Takes a while when you're doing big areas. Just to kind of create like a, let's see, a little bit of a, that looks good. I'm going to use the regular cloning brush. Just press Option and then you can kind of like select bits. And then I'm going to do the same thing. Grab like an area. And then go to Edit and Define Pattern. Call it Pattern 4. And then I'm going to use the Pattern Paint tool. And then go here and then pattern 4, and I'm going to use that to kind of paint. It looks a bit gnarly, but that's okay. And then press Shift, it holds it straight. Okay, that looks pretty good. If you see some repeats in there, then just go for the clone stamp tool, go for a nice soft brush, make it quite big, and then you can kind of like get rid of things like that. Just kind of randomize it. Repeating patterns is a real problem in 3D, but you know, you have to just try and solve it. Okay, so now we've got a pattern that looks roughly as if it's just sort of getting rid of some of these areas, and yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, the problem is we're going to get an edge problem, so we're going to go to whilst we're on the whole thing, we go to filter and other, and we're going to use something called offset. And offset, you can offset your image whatever way you want, and what it will do is it means that it will tile it, so these bits will work together, and then we're going to get a join in the middle. That was the old join, and then we'll use the healing brush, and then we'll get rid of that as good as we can. Okay, good, finish. So that's our texture. And so that one's going to be a more effective texture because it's essentially real. And we're going to go and save that, and we're going to call that donut base color 2. We'll go save, go OK, and I'm going to go back to Blender. So here's our previous. We'll turn off the icing again, and so we can see that we've got this texture on it, which is our previous one, and you can see it's got a bit of a join. But on this one, we're going to open up. We're going to find base color 2. And now we're going to get a texture which has a little bit of a join, but not much. And if I spent more time texturing, I could probably get rid of that. Okay. And when we put the icing on, then it's starting to look better because we're using a real texture. Okay. That's quite kind of full on, but you could just use the first version. It'll still look pretty good with that as well. And then you save. Okay, because this is quite a lot of work here, so I'm going to go save as, and I'm going to call this donut 2.